Hello everyone, my name is Heather and welcome to the channel Bookables. Today, I'm doing a video I thought I would never do. Today I'm going to talk about books that I would actually like to see adapted. So, now, if you're a reader, a lot of the times books you love that become wildly popular will end up becoming adapted either into a show or movie, and more oftentimes than not, they're not the best. This is not a trend that is new. It has been going around for a while, ever since I first started BookTube, when I feel like book adaptations really started to pick up. I'm talking about like Hunger Games, which was amazing, Harry Potter, amazing, Lord of the Rings, all that stuff. There's also some not so great adaptations when I started that I really pushed myself to read, like Beautiful Creatures. Don't like the book, don't like the movie. Every Nicholas Sparks book's been adapted. I don't think there's a single one that hasn't been adapted. The Mortal Instruments got adapted into a movie, then a show. Divergent, like I could go on and on and on. Like the Duff, YA in particular, really got oversaturated with adaptations. Then I feel like it kind of meandered for a while, and these past like so years have amped up again. I think largely in part to Reese Witherspoon with her book club, like she did Where the Crawdads Sing. Didn't love it. The book, I tried to watch the movie, couldn't even finish it. Other ones I can't think of right now. Little Fires Everywhere, which I still have not watched. There's been so many adaptations, and it still keeps coming. I think it'll be a trend that will never really fade away, but it's one that I don't really pay attention to much anymore. I used to be so excited whenever I learned that one of my favorite books was going to be adapted. I was like, oh my gosh, it's going to be amazing. And then I got let down over and over again. The Fifth Wave too, I forgot about that one of my favorite books. And then, and so since then I haven't really I haven't been keeping up with adaptation news, because there's a lot of them of books I've loved that have been adapted that I still have not watched. Still have not watched The Sun Is Also a Star. Still have not watched Lessons in Chemistry. Still have not watched The Girl on the Train. I'm sure I can make Little Fires Everywhere, so I'm watch that one, and I just feel like I'm really disappointed. But anyway, that's besides the point. There are some books that I finish, and when I think about it, I'm like, wow, this really could be an amazing adaptation if they did it right. That's always the name of the game. Will they do it right? But I have a list of 10 or so books that I think just could be adapted amazingly. Like I think they're just really kind of meant for the screen in one fashion or the other, and that's what I'm going to talk about today. So first up, I'm going to start with a Grady Hendrick's book. Now you might be remembering, I think it was a couple years ago, My Best Friend's Exorcism, which again, I thought could make a great adaptation, did get adapted into a Prime movie, I believe, and it was okay. It wasn't amazing, but that, needless to say, I do think his latest release, How to Sell a Haunted House, could be a great adaptation movie-wise, and I think they could really make it horror status. Like I'm talking like super creepy, because this is all about two siblings that lose their parents and they have to go back home to sell their house, and then an evil puppet kind of takes over, and it's creepy. It is very emotional too, with sadness, but I think it could be a great movie if done right. I think if maybe they toned down on the funniness of it and really upped the freaking scary puppet, like kind of made it like almost like a revival of Chucky, if you will, because a lot of people love that, but that was also funny, so it's hard to kind of, but I think it could be a really good adaptation if done right. I think this could be a great one because people love scary movies. Not myself, but people do. Speaking of scary, as soon as I finished this book, I was like, this needs to be made into a movie immediately, and that is My Darling Girl by Jennifer McMahon. This is all about a woman that does not have a good relationship with her mom, never been a really good one, and then she learns her mom's terminal, and her mom wants to move in with her for her last days. And when her mom moves in, she's like, oh great, we'll repair our relationship, everything will be hunky-dory. No, she starts to think that her mom is possessed by a demon, and it's creepy, and it's weird, and immediately when I finished it, I thought that, what's one of those really popular, like, horror movie, like is it A27 or Blumhouse or something, or the person who did Hereditary? Like that could be this movie. It could be creepy, it could be psychological, it could get in your head, it could totally do that, and I think it would be an amazing movie because a lot of people love those really scary, sinister ones that's more psychological. This one doesn't have a lot of gore in it, say it's like Hereditary or something like that, but that's also more psychological in a way. This was creepy. It could be made into an amazing movie if done right. I'll say that 50,000 times. Will I not? I don't know. And we're going to keep going on the thriller train because I feel like those could just be really good adaptations, because I think there's a lot of plot behind them. There's a lot that could drive into a movie. And the one I'm going to talk about next is a book I've been talking about for the past year on this channel that I still will not shut up about, is the last one by Will Dean, about a woman who wakes up on a cruise ship alone. I mean, that's just right there. It could be creepy. It could be horror. And if the trailer doesn't give everything away, which it would because every trailer in the world does that now, it could be a total surprise for audience members of what they expect and what they get out of the movie when they leave. They just expect, oh, it's a girl abandoned on a cruise ship. Like, it's going to be about her survival. And then when you get to the movie, you learn more, just like the book. It would have to be a super vague trailer for it to be done well, in my opinion, because the book is best to go into without knowing barely anything, because it's going to take you for a wild goose chase. Let me tell you that much. An amazing movie if done well, and especially the trailer part. Like, if they give it away with the trailer, there would be no point in making this movie whatsoever, like adapting it. Getting off of the thriller train, we're going to go to romance for a little bit. Usually, I'm not the biggest fan of romance adaptations. I feel like it's not really necessary. And honestly, the rom-coms, I feel like in these past, like, I would say 5 to 10 years, have not been the best. Like, I am a rom-com lover. 90s, 2000s is where it's at for me. My favorite rom-com of all time is When Harry Met Sally. I love Mean Girls. I love The Devil Wears Prada. Like, you know, there's some amazing rom-coms. And so when I think about books and adaptating them, there hasn't been the best. I've Got Your Number, The Hating Game, a book I love. Movie just didn't need to be done, in my opinion. Like, I love the book, but it doesn't necessarily mean just because I love the book, I think it's going to make a great adaptation. But there's some I read them like, this could be translated well into film. One, 7 Year Slip by Ashley Poston. This one's very much like The Lake House with Sandra Bullock and Keanu Reeves. This is about a girl that has an apartment that has like kind of a time rift where it's 7 years, and it's just a very interesting concept, which means it could be an interesting movie. Again, as I've said 50 times before, if done well, but it's a great sweeping love story that could be not a rom-com, but a general, just straight up romance epic movie. And I think it would be a great one, again, if done well. I'm just going to keep saying that over and over again. I don't know why. But either way, this, I think, has enough going on with it plot-wise to keep it intriguing, to keep it made into a romance movie, and I think it could do well. Going back in the scary role, because I guess that's just where I live now, even though I don't watch scary movies at all, the scary stuff I watch is watching found flicks recap it for me. That's about as much as I can do. But The September House by Carissa Orlando could be a great, funny, satirical horror movie. The whole book is about a woman that buys a house that is like this beautiful Gothic mansion, and it's like a beautiful historic kind of house, and she learns that it's haunted by all these ghosts. And every September, the walls will bleed, the ghosts will kind of go irrational, these ghosts are evil, but she's used to living in this house, and she's like, this is my house, and I'm not leaving. And that could be a great movie. Like I said, very funny, kind of scary, but also silly in a way, which is, I think the book did that really well. It straddled that line great, and I think it could make into a great movie. You know, we're gonna move into a show that I think could be good, and that is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. This is a trilogy that I've still yet to finish the third book, but the first book would make a great little mini series, let me tell you, because not only is it about a murder mystery trial, you also have the podcast element into it, which could be translated great into a show. I see this one more as a show and not a movie because of just kind of the clues and stuff. This is about a character named Poppy who has to do an assignment for her senior year, and she's like, why not revisit this murder case that happened years ago, because I think the guy they found was guilty was not. And it's just a really fun YA mystery thriller that could be great into kind of like, maybe, I want to say the CW, but I don't know, man, they've done me wrong. Like a little mini series, if you will. It could be super fun, I think, honestly. Speaking of certain fun, I thought, man, this would be a great movie. Killers of a Certain Age by Deanna Brayborn. I read this a couple years ago, and it's basically Golden Girls meets like Assassins, if you will. It's about all these older ladies that were assassins in their heyday. Like, they were in a group together, they had jobs, and they were assassins, and now, you know, they're retiring. They're older, their hips hurt, their knees hurt, they can't run like they used to. And so their, company decides to send them on like one last big retreat of like, thanks for working and killing for us for years. And they learn that somebody's actually out there to kill them. So they have to work together to try to get the killers that are getting them. And it's a super fun book that could be made into a fun movie. Like you could probably put Diane Keaton in it, Helen Mirren, just some older ladies that are great, and it would just be a fun time. And I think this would translate into a great movie that would be very hilarious in my opinion. Now look, I know there's been talks, I don't know how fruitful it is, if it's just in talks or it's actually filming, I don't even know, of The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, one of my favorite Taylor Jenkins Reid books. I love all of her books. There's no surprise that her books have been adapted. One True Loves is one that's been adapted into a movie. I have not watched it yet because I just don't have hope. Daisy Jones was adapted and I think it did pretty okay. It could have been done better, but I think as an adaptation overall, it was pretty decent, which for me is a lot to say because I guess I just am super hard to please when it comes to that. But we're all talking about Evelyn Hugo and I'm like, what about Carrie Soto? This would be a great series, like tennis. You could put it out near Wimbledon and all that stuff. It's like, this could be great. Why is no one talking about this? If they are, disregard what I'm saying. But this book is about tennis legend Carrie Soto, not a real one, but a fictional one. And she retires, but then she learns that some up-and-comer is going to take her title down, and she's like, no freaking way. And so she goes back to training, and it's all about her. This would make a phenomenal series. I think this one over any other Taylor Jenkins Reid book would be really good as adaptations. As far as other ones that maybe could be good, Forever Interrupted could be a really sad emotional movie that I would not watch. But other than that, this is the Taylor Jenkins Reid, I think, one that needs to be adapted. Why we haven't talked about it yet is beyond me, because I think it would be, like, I do like the idea of Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, but I hope if they do it into like a show and not a movie. I feel like her books are best adapted into shows because of just the sheer things are going on with them. And the last book I have is, you guessed it, another scary one, In the Drowning Deep by Mara Grant. I read this one a while ago, loved it. It's basically about this documentary crew that goes out to prove that killer sirens are real, and they go and they never come back. Flash forward to many, many years later, one of the sisters of the one that got missing, she decides, that she learns that another crew is going to go out to try to find what happened to this other crew, and she's like, I'm going to go to figure out my sister. And so they go, and some crazy junk happens. It could be a great, scary siren movie that, would be so cool. I would love it if they did it, honestly. Again, if done well. This should be the title of this video, if done well. That's my list of just a short one. I didn't really go deep diving into my Goodreads, because if I really wanted to, I could probably come up with a whole page full of books that I think could be adapted well. These are just some that I think could really do well, if they treated them great, if they're great source material and they should be used as such. You know what I'm saying? If they do it right and do it justice to the books. I'd love to hear some books you think would make great adaptations, because I know I've missed a lot, but just, I guess I am picky when it comes to adaptations. I really am. I mean, there's some that I've liked. This, like I said, Daisy and the Six. I think Summer I Turn Pretty is actually a really good adaptation. I'm looking forward to the third book, and I generally really like that one. And that's all the ones I can think of right now. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.